Okay, today for your viewing pleasure, we're going to have the bare leg bubble solo Crypt Heart with no pants. I'll get into the build right here. This is just a little intro section. Let's get on it. See how well I can work these things simultaneously. Oh, can't switch the source as I'm recording. Okay, first I'll quickly go over the build. This is another no pants build. Yes, that's a costume I made, and I have lots of others, but it would be showing what she's wearing if I put some pants on her. See, the pants I normally wear with this would be, well, you can see there's no pants there. Okay. So I'll go over the build in a few details. I'll just tell the basics first. It's Lambris and Trinimac's Valor, which when I cast my damage shield or hit Brawler, I'm gonna get a 5k heal and 5k damage. And then on the back bar we have our lightning staff, and that's going to give us a 2300 heal, and crit surge is 3300, so that's not a bad heal right there. And that's just all I have to do is lay down some ground AoE to have that go off. So here's the front bar set, and these sets only apply when you're on that bar. That's what allows me to go no pants and mix in the Wild Hunt ring, as in on the back bar it forms a complete set, but when I switch to the front bar I lose the 4th and 5th trait. And here on the front bar I have the complete set, but when I switch to the back bar I lose the 4th and 5th trait. So to do that bar swapping method, the advantage is it allows you to just put 3 pieces, you know, like here's the Trinimac, there's 3 with the weapon, and then here is the, yeah, that's the Trinimac and the weapon, and then over here is the Winter's Respite. I've also done this with Hatchling Shell. It gives you a shield, but anyway, I'm shifting gears, okay. And Hatchling Shell will mix with these 3. The thing I like about Hatchling Shells is it's heavy. And you know, this build was a little bit squishy, but the problem with Hatchling Shell that I didn't like was it was just 22% of your health shield, so, and I was only getting 25k health, so with it, or 30, you know, if it's 30k health, let's see, this is 28, so we'll say 29, 60% of that. That's a 17.4 shield, but you have to have your Magika up high enough to drive that, and it's usually around 40 to 45% of your Magika. So, anyway, that's the 2 sets. I got the Ring of the Wild Hunt on, so I can move fast. That's pretty fast, you know. And that actually made the build harder to do. It comes in kind of handy, but you know, like if I get in trouble, I can just I have enough Magika recovery, I can do this. And on every bar swap I can switch it and do shields, you know. So, you know, the speed lets me do that. And some other details about this build. This started out as a 1-bar build with Necropotence and, what's the name of it? Both of them Overland sets. Started out with, did I put that gear away? Necropotence, and Hatchling Shell. No, wasn't a Hatchling Shell. It was, Oh, I gotta hurry up. I'm taking too long with this. That was the gear that you get in Deshawn that gives a lot of health. It gives just tons of health. Only I had weapons and jewelry for that. I didn't have any. Pretty sure. Hatchling shell gives a shield. Did I put it? Where is that gear? Oh, it had to be run on both staffs. Yeah, the problem with that was, did I put it away? My bank's gotten pretty. Oh, what's that called? Outcast has a build with that. Plague.
Hello.
I think it's Plague Doctor. Weapons. Plague Doctor. Started out as that. Darn. I should plan this out. So I'm getting, I don't know where I put it, but it's Plague Doctor, and it gives a lot of health. That's a heavy set. And I don't know why I don't have it. Did I deconstruct it or what? Plague Doctor. Darn. What is wrong with me? What is wrong? I thought I kept it. I thought it should be in it. Did I accidentally deconstruct it? Oh, I probably had it in the gear. I probably had Necropotence weapons. And it's heavy. I should just give a link to his build because it's really nothing unique. It's just done with a Nord and change a few of the enchants to balance it for being a Nord. But you know, because
May I be of service?
God, what's that? What is that? Necropotence gives you lots of Magika, and I believe it's Plague Doctor. It's in Deshawn. It drops in Deshawn. I don't know where it happened to that gear. I don't know where I put it. Oh, I know where I put it. I bet I put it in here. Yeah, this is my extra. I don't. Maybe I never made that. Maybe I never got enough Plague Doctor to make it. Maybe I just. Yeah, I think I just made it. I just use Hatchling Shell, which gives armor and 1 health. But it's Plague Doctor is what they use, I believe. It's the one that gives 3 healths and then a final big health, or 2 healths and a healing recovery. And but the problem with that is if your 5th trait is something, I need a 5th trait that's going to be something that, and a 4th if I could get it, but I want it to be something that I can set off so if you want to make a set out of 8 pieces, 8 pieces in a monster helmet, so there's really 8 pieces in a monster set is 10. And the beauty of these things is next patch, training's going to change from a 5-piece to a 3-piece, but the first piece is going to get a benefit, and the second piece will get 2, and the third piece will get 3. So you can mix those pieces in for odd builds. You know, right now all the gear, it's only on the second item you get the trait. So anyway, you want something that you can control when you're on that bar and set it off, and it's going to carry over into the other bar. On this one, I get a heal that stays down, or it's going to come down in a second. I don't have to be on that bar to get it. I'll demonstrate. I still got that heal, and I still did the damage to him, even though I'm on the other bar. And then the Winter's Respite, which is on my staff bar. I'm still getting that heal right now. This is a heal for me. It's the 2.3k heal. I did have Hatchling Shell, which gave me a 5k shield, which is okay. But I think it had a 15... The cooldown was kind of long, and I was thinking 5k over... It's either 10 or 15 seconds. I was thinking that's not a lot of shielding I'm getting. You know, when you really think about it, if it was 10, 5 over 10, that's a half a k of shielding, you know, per second. Where this is 2.3k of healing. So if I do this and do this, I'm getting a lot of healing. You know, I'm getting every 10 seconds I'm getting about 15,000 healing. So what 2.5 times 10 would be 25k of healing, plus the 5k, that's 30k of healing on that. And so I'm not overstacked on shields as much. If I had more Magika, I could get this up to 17k, but as I take off my health and put it in Magika, it's biased towards health right now. So I've kind of talked about the gear enough right here. So it's these two items, and they form an 8-piece set. This forms 10, and then the Wild Hunt ring forms 11, and then it's missing the pants. So that's so we'll go over the skills now of the build. I started this out with two lightning staffs, and then I said that, well, the front staff, I'm not sure. It was a single bar build, and you know the problem with the reason people like single bars is you get confused which bar you're on, and when you're playing a Magika Sorc, the main thing is you start to forget where you're. If you miss where your shield is, you're kind of in trouble, or your heal. If you start getting on the wrong bar and doing something expensive and it's not a heal, you can get in real trouble. So I just put the heal on both bars. So if you get confused, you're still okay, and your heal's always on 2. And normally I play a Stam Sorc, so I'm kind of getting used to or even a Stam Sorc with kind of hybrid. You know, maybe I'll throw the Sorc Lightnings thing on it or something, or this is a Magika skill, I'll throw that on it, or the Sorc one. But I'll talk about the skills. This is I'll start with the multi-target. Okay, so I've come up with this is about the best for it was kind of weak on lots of mobs, so I added a few more AoE. So this has really got 1, 2, Endless Fury will kill things next to it, and then so will Brawler. So it's got 4 AoE. So this is doing better than this. You know, normally I wouldn't put both these, but with lots of mobs, it just. And I tried it with Sword and Board, thinking it'd help me block. But I'm used to playing Greatsword. And, you know, Brawler's just such a good... You know, it hits lots of mobs where if you're just stabbing, you know, it'll keep you alive for just a second. It's not a... Now, with this much stamina, it's not a huge shield, but it's okay. You know, and Greatsword hits many items. If I hit something, it'll hit. It's got the passives that hit many items. So I'm kind of going a lot to details about the build, but okay. So it's Hardened Ward on both bars and Summon Twilight. And on my stand builds, I won't run Hardened Ward since I don't have enough Magika or recovery to sustain it. But on this, I'm running a Hardened Ward because I got a good Magika recovery. I put the Evil Camouflage Hunter on. I try to, if I'm doing these hybrid type of things, I try to put an Undaunted skill on each bar. So this is a ultimate I try not to use. If you mess up which bar you're on, you'll waste it. And I guess if you're just about to die, it help. And so I chose Storm Atronach because I'm either going to put Flawless Dawnbreaker here or Storm Atronach, or on the single target. I found that that Soul one works pretty good. So that's what I'll do on the single. But so So actually, this is really the single target switch to multi-targets. So normally I'll have on the back bar I'll have this, and on the front bar I'll have that. So I took let me switch it. Didn't switch. Well, oh, it thinks I'm in combat because of that pet. Okay. So I have to unsummon the pet. Man, I hadn't played a pet build in forever, but I was kind of intrigued by the one bar pet build, and the last pet build I tried, I was trying to get that clan fear to act as a tank, and I was spending more time trying to keep it alive than it was helping me. So, and then when they changed ESO a while back where they supported pets a lot more and took away all our shielding, and this is for you. This is the way to pass. So anyway, yeah. So when due to my passives, my health and stamina will go down when I don't. And, I got some passives that keeping that pet out helps. But so now I can show where it kind of started, the build did. See. Yeah, this is... Okay, so this would kind of be a floater normally. And then this would be a floater. Like I might put over here... I might put that void light. I might put the Sorc lightning skill. So I don't want to go into it. Well, I might as well go into the build details. I mean, and then we'll get to the fight. So yeah, you can put this over here. I try to, if I have to switch, sometimes you can bring this back to here, but then you have to switch and you got to keep that on both sides. And if these weren't pet builds, I try to keep a Daedric summoning because of, and the reason I do that is this passive right here increases your health and stamina. So I try to keep a Daedric summoning ability on every bar. I try to keep a lot of Sorc abilities on, like if I'm kind of in the middle between a mages or something else or another one, there's a passive here that every Sorc ability on there you put gives you 2% well and 2% spell and weapon damage. If you put if you're trying to go for just weapon, you can get 3% with this. So if you're only interested in it'll give you 1% more, but it won't give any spell damage. So so that's kind of some ideas, around this. But since this is gearing more towards Magika, I started out with it double lightning, but I thought I'd try it the other way. It seems to be working okay. Now if you run it double lightning staff, you're going to get a lot more Magika. I mean, you can get and Necropotence and Plague Doctor or something. Even running that instead of running a Plague Doctor, I was running this but I can't do no pants. You can either I was doing Hatchling Shell, which gave me a big shield and a lot of armor. The one good thing about that is once you're at 20, that's 3,000 armor. That starts getting it, and you're wearing heavy. When I was wearing that, I was like at 22,000. So this doesn't have as much resistances. So so for single target, usually if I'm doing single target, it's going to be a long fight, so I want to execute. I can debate that because usually if it's such a hard fight, I'm pretty busy, so I don't always have time to do that. And then elemental drain too helps. Sometimes you do that instead of that helps if you're just focusing on one target instead of AOE. That's basically what I switch is. If it's multi-targets, I'll throw on Mage's Fury over there because it both will recover Magika damage multiple items, and it's a minor. It's not a very good execute, but it is one. And then over here I'll usually put the Sorc AoE, which is Lightning Flood. And I think I've morphed all these. So I've gone over the skills. I've gone over that. For this fight, I use the Lord. It's always a balancing act between, you know, right now we're Magika limited. That's what's 31k, so 142814 enter. We'll just say 31,000. We're not gonna get. That's 47%. So I've seen it. It's oh yeah, but I really have to put the pets out to get a true number. Okay, I'll put the pets out. Did that make my magic? I don't think that affected my magic. I think that's yeah, I see that number kind of changing. And I know, anyway, I ran the Lord. I decided, sometimes I try to balance it, so it's about 60% of this and somewhere between 40 and 50% of this. I'm not sure. I think weapon damage, I'm not sure what's driving it because I'm getting different numbers. And then some of my builds I try to run standard pots. This one, if you're not using a lot of stamina, you can run the Solomon Soup, and yeah, I got a different build I was running when I do the one-handed. I think I'll do that, but you probably need, you know, I hadn't put tri-stats on this. I mean, I picked up this Winter's Respite pretty quickly. So, like my other stuff, I put, yeah, a lot of the stuff I put expensive enchants on it. But, and Winter's Respite has to be farmed in, I believe, Wrothgar. So you'll need ESO Plus to do that. I'll later show one you don't, if I've got it. You'll need Wrothgar to do that. And then Trinimac is Western Skyrim, so you'll need Greymoor, but it is overland. You don't have to go into a dungeon to get it. Again, if you don't want to do that, you can get Plague Doctor. I think it's called Plague Doctor. It's the one that drops in Deshaun. It's all health. I think I had it up on my browser. No, I don't, but okay. I'm 99% sure it's Plague Doctor. It's heavy armor. It's all health, and it works pretty well with this. But you won't be able to do a no pants, and you won't be able to, you know, even if I had pants on, and the pants I'm wearing with this, if I want health, are I think I use Clever Alchemist because the first trait was health. But if I needed magic, I could run that. But it's only going to give me, yeah, if I put so, you know, I could switch it around. And if I wasn't running this one, I could put a Trinimac ring there, and then put the heavy over here, and then put a Clever Alchemist heavy there, and you get the first trait. You can just pick any set. You're only going to get one, but when the patch comes out for Stonethorn, you can get trainee, and two extra items will give you 2 traits. The first one's health. I believe the next one's Magika, and the last one's stamina. But anyway, so if you wanted to run this in pants, all of a sudden, you know, just having that, my health went up, so I could probably switch to the mage now. I just wanted. It was kind of a tough fight. On PTS, it wasn't that tough, but you know, there's some changes. One thing. I'm trying to do it with the Wild Hunt, which I'm losing a piece there. That's really, it's just for fun, because it's the only one that really works is stamina or a hybrid. Well, no, actually that's a wild hunt. But if you got if you use the tonal, the torque tonal, which I hadn't farmed yet. Over here, it's whichever Magika and stamina pools, whichever's lower than 50%, the other one gets a big boost in recovery. So if you had that, you could probably put a weapon damage on one of these. Right now I've got a recovery on them, 2 stams. So I've talked about this, the key things, yeah, the build details. I'm just using tri-stat food, and I'm switching if I feel like in the fight I'm gonna need stamina. I'm using just cheap tri foods to help my stamina recovery. If I feel like I'm not gonna be stamina or I have time to heavy attack, then I was using expensive food to get spell crit and spell and spell damage. I mean, the stats on either one aren't great. This is not a build made to but if I take that, now my spell damage is 2,000, and I think when I drop, I don't have crit surge on, yeah, so that's not going to help me. I mean, and I don't have infused, so I don't think anything's going to change that much. That's pretty much what, you know, a few minor things might help it, but so it's not a high spell damage, but when that's going, it does have spell crit 2,900, weapon damage, weapon crit 27, not as much weapon damage. But a little bit. Yeah, not wet, because that potion's not going to do anything. Okay, so I'm going to go the from my previous video, as far as championship points. I tried to split them a little bit between and tilted towards Magika. That's about all. I don't put a lot of points here because I need to get them in. So this, I'm trying to split them here between these 3. I don't use health recovery. And then trying to get some in block here. This is, I think I got about 190. Yeah, let's see what character. What am I? I'm a CP. 5 set. So this is getting towards 550, 600. Yeah, championship. So, so let's don't spin forever because I want to show the fight and talk about stuff during the fight. So yeah, so that's that. Trying to get, you know, some left, get to here at a minimum and put a few, since I'll be dropping some things that can crit there. Elemental damage, get that as high as I can. Think I was trying to get this 75. No, I don't think I was. That was just a gimme. That was just extra icing on the cake. Didn't put a lot of, wasn't like the greatsword is added this later, so whatever it gets is good, but it's not. Okay, that's always a good thing to put stuff in. So here's the stamina side. I don't have as many points on the crit. So yeah, I was just trying to get this here. Where did all elemental damage, healing? It's sustained really, and there's a lot of damage over time. Yeah. Over here, usual points in Ironclad, everybody does. I tried to put a little more in Spell Shield because I don't have that heavy armor, any sort of resistances, or Hurricane. I could, you know, you could run a Hurricane in one of those optional slots. I'm not a vampire, but it doesn't hurt to take these hardies. Good. Bastion, got a lot of points in shields. Got a lot of points in recovery. So yeah, so that's the championship points. You know, these upper points, these things you see at 50 and stuff, you can take 20 points out of it and not see a big difference. It'll go from mastered arms, you could get 6, as that goes down, it's once they start getting up to 40 or 50, usually need about 5 points to get to the next thing. If you know about jump points, 19 in ESO, 19% same thing as 19.9%. The game counts as 19. It does integer mass. So if I was to pull points out of this ironclad, it'd be 18. I'd have 5 points to put in. If you don't have 500 points, if you got 300, you could pull the points out, and it would make a big difference. So, 300 is going to make a difference, because I think 300 is where you start getting your health, your Magika health, and this boost. So did that pet already start fighting that thing? Jesus. Okay, so we'll take the pants off, because it is no pants. Oh, damn. I need to get an add-on to some of these pets. Okay, it is a no pants build. It's still I'm gonna have to wait for this to die. Okay. And I tried the Necropotence, and I had the little monkey running up and exploding, and I thought, well, that heal on the flying one's good, but that monkey, I mean, it's okay if I get busy, I don't hit it, So I thought maybe I ought to put some other stuff in, but it makes it kind of, with that monkey on there, I only got 2 spots. And if I want to get my Undaunted in there, I only got 1 spot, 2 on one bar, 1 on another. And so it's getting kind of tight, and I thought, well, I'll take the monkey off and put my own AoEs down. So it's advantages and disadvantages. I mean, both of them, to get that monkey will follow them around and blow up. Where these things, they can run around and leave your AoE. So but that's the direction I went with this build. So it seems to be working. I got a few others I'll upload that I was made on the way to this. So I'll upload it, but this is what I like. And for convenience, it's got that run around. So you can take things off this for just overland stuff. You can put streak on it. You can put the Fighter's Guild. It has a fear that also helps your stamina recovery and minor protection. So those are some other things you can do. You can put this on it. I've even played, if you can throw this in there if you don't want to drink pots but you want to get the damage. Put that on it. Hurricane. Any Sorc skill. If you think it's about the same as another skill, it's probably good to put on, because you get that weapon and spell damage. Mage's Guild, and I do this in this. I do for one fight that I'm having troubles with, and I think, I probably just need to do more damage. So I threw in the Mage's Guild. I threw in Mage's Light just to get my magic up, and paired it on both sides. And then Fighter's Guild on the stamina thing. I like throwing Turn Evil in. It gives you a fear. If you put it on the opposite bar of this, it'll give you minor protection. So that'll make you more tanky too. And helps your stamina recovery. If I don't have Daedric Summoning, like I don't have pets and shields, or I only have the shield on one bar, it can be good to put the Daedric Summoning on the other, because it helps your recoveries and lots of stuff. Okay, so next we'll go to the actual fight. I need to get to the don't know a smoother way to do this. Okay, here we are with the BubbleBigSword build. I kind of went over the build earlier. Everything but the attribute points, and I'll put that in the notes below. And yeah, so it's Lambris and Trinimac's Valor, which does a one-time 4K and 5K damage and heal. 4k heal, 5k damage every 6 seconds, every 5 seconds. And then Winter's Respite, I switched off from about a 22% of your health shield. I believe it's every 10 seconds in Hatchling Shell, to Winter's Respite, and I threw this together pretty quick. I really balanced that Hatchling Shell build and got I use Tri-Stat Enchants and yeah, and just balance the shields. You know, your shields are limited at 60% of your health, but it's your Magika that's driving it until it hits that 60% limit. It's usually about somewhere between 40 and 45% of your Magika, but something must be feeding into the formula, either your weapon damage or something. I hadn't figured it out, but every build I've had, it's been somewhere between 40 and 50%. Highest I've seen it, I saw it 47.1, and I'm not sure if it was really 47. I could have not had my pets out or something. I forgot what could be driving it, but I've seen it different anyway, is what I'm saying. But the health is always limited at 60% of your health. So there I'm showing, let me pause this and see, because this is kind of critical. Okay, this is the AoE part of the build, and this is the solo. I've got this is the first one I've started to say, okay, instead of me just swapping two skills, I'm going to make an exclusive solo. So we'll say this is the base build. That's probably what I'd use if I didn't have an AoE and just throw another AoE over here. But on the back bar, we've got weakness to elements. That's changing. And on the front bar, we've got an execution skill. These things are kind of for solo targets. If you got multiples, you don't have time to tag everybody with a weakness to elements. And then, although you can tag multiple targets, and then this executability here, that kicks in at 50%, unlike Mage's Wrath, which kicks in at 20%. So this is a solo. For the multiple target, we put Mage's Wrath over here, which will hit multiple enemies close together, and you can't see it, but there's lightning, void lightning, or whatever, the lightning circle that the Sorc puts down, lightning flood. So, oh, and I switched to ultimate. This will affect many, attack lots of stuff. This will only attack a single target and who's ever standing next to it, and they'll move out of it too. So it's really good for things that stay in the same place, which a lot of bosses do. But, so, anyway. So yeah, it's Crypt of Hearts, Lover's Torment. Somewhere I pointed and showed its vet content. Showed that I was grouped in a vet. So, here we go. And then to make one more, a little bit more, the first boss fight I have some problems with this build. I've never really had any problems with it. And I'll talk about this later. You know, without pants and wearing a mythic item, I'm basically missing two pieces. And when the new Greymoor comes out, 2 pieces is 2 traits in a set. You can now one piece can have a health trait, and 2 pieces can have health and magicka, and 3 health and stamina. The last 2 could be interswitched, but trainee is going to change, where it only takes 1 piece to form a set. So that's pretty critical, you know. That ring's only, it's giving me swiftness, which could be a weapon damage trait, or no, it could be one of my health pools or my magic pool, or if I had a lot of money, it could be a tri-stat, which I don't. I don't have enough, when I say money, geodes to be switching stuff or buying a perfect trait. But anyway, yeah, so the first boss fight I had a little problems with. So I put Mage's Light. I took Evil Hunter off, which was giving me 3% weapon damage on the Great Sword. Something else. And then on the back bar, I took off Mage's Wrath. It still forms an execute, you know. So it's 3 of my 4 AoEs. Because I figured on that fight, let's just kill them fast. Let's get a little more damage. So I thought I'd try it out on these mobs here. The potion I'm running is spell crit and spell damage, but if I feel stamina challenge in the fight or I'm not confident in the fight, I might run a tri-stat potion, so it can be done. It's just DPS is even lower, but you do have the stamina recovery. If there's a lot of blocking going on, it's hard to, you know. This build evolved from I tried it with a sword and board, and I had a different build that was I forgot what it was, but it had sword and board. I mean, where this build evolved for is the typical 1-bar Sorc build of running Necropotence and Plague Doctor. Necropotence has 5 or 6k Magika, just a ton load of Magika, and then Plague Doctor has 4 or 5k of health and a health recovery, and it's heavy. So, you know, the health raises your limit on the shield. It's 60. Your shield can't be, your hardened ward can't be any bigger than 60% of your health. And then the Magika rate gets the Magika limit up high for damage and that. And it's single bar, and I said, okay, let's make it so it can be played. I mean, really, you know, why do you want a single bar? It's because you get confused what bar you're on, and do you really bother you that much if you hit the wrong thing and screw up your DPS, or you hit the wrong thing and die because you thought your heal was there or your shield was there? It's usually because you missed your heal or shield or your crit surge or whatever. So with this, you know, your critical things, your shield and your heal, are, you see there on 1 and 2 how I map out my stuff. I put my spammable on 4. Try to put my AO in 3. Well, it really doesn't matter. You know, for the pet build, I'm putting it on 1 and 2. 2's hard to hit on my mouse, and 4 is the easiest button to spam on my mouse, and 6 I'm just out of the habit of hitting. Two is on the forward row between 1 and 2, so you got to kind of, I don't want something I'm going to spam there. But I seem to be able to hit it. I don't have a problem healing, so I guess I've gotten used to it, but maybe at first it's hard to hit. Okay, so these aren't too much of a problem, but you'll see some problems when I hit the first boss. It's that mage that silences you with the ads. Once the ads are dead, I don't have a problem. But I hadn't quite figured out the mechanics of when he silences me or how I'm dying. I've never really had a problem with it, but maybe my DPS was higher. Maybe my armor was higher, so if I lost my shield, it didn't matter quite so much. I could just block through it. But for whatever reasons, I was dying a lot. And I remember the first fight, I really didn't beat it. I just kept dying until the ads were dead, and then I killed him. So went in, had problems, and I restarted the whole dungeon and spent forever to get a fresh start, and said we're just going to try to kill him. And I decided if I put Mage's Light on it, it would give me more Magika, which would give me more damage, so that would work. So I think I died 2 or 3 times in that fight, and then I think I run around. I'm still talking about that fight, but the rest of this is pretty mundane. It's the front bar. Try to put your shield down on the front bar, because whether you need it or not, because it will do damage too. And then if you need it on the back bar, use it. But and always lay down the elemental blockade destruction staff ground, because that any ground AOE will set off that healing frozen stuff you see. The frozen stuff, the ice, is a 2.3k heal per second, as I talked about in the build. And then the green, when you see me on that bar, when I do a shield, I think every 6 seconds it'll put down a 5k heal. And maybe it's 4k with what my health is here, my magic, I don't know. And then, but it also does damage to the monsters. It's also, you know, you would think not wearing pants doesn't make that big of a difference, but even now when it's not getting a set bonus, it does make a difference because I'm not getting my Undaunted passive, or I can't both get my Undaunted and wear 5 types of armor. I can't do them both. I have to give up one or the other, and so I'm losing those passives. Pants are the second biggest armor piece, and they get a big enchant, so not wearing them I'm losing, you know, a decent amount of armor and a decent amount. And then since I'm wearing the Mythic ring, which is nice to have the speed, but it's probably not. I'd probably rather have that sustain of the Torque Tonal, which I hadn't farmed yet, which usually on my PTS builds I'll wear that. But I want to make a build that I could run. I didn't say this, but this is not on the PTS. This is my main with gear. So I died there. So what's flare? I don't know. It looks like just the ads are hitting me with a lot of stuff, and so he hits me once or silences me, and I can't put down, and I die. I could be not getting my shield, but I think I had a few where I think I just make the slightest mistake and I die, and put down my shields and keep my health up. And just takes, and I don't know what, maybe one of those ads is doing something, needs to be interrupted. I hadn't really analyzed it. I just noticed I died a lot. They're just hitting me with damage, but my health is going down really fast. The build I was running before, I've got 15 to 17k resistances. The build I was running before this, I had ton load resistance, 22, 23k, 25 to 23, something like that, a lot more. So I spread my stats out more. My other one was more Magika, and I put some more stats and stamina since I'm running that great sword. When I was running the sword and board before this, I wasn't really, I was running the sword and board for the traits it was giving me. It was making it easier to block, and one skill gave you a charge that stunned them. One skill, you could use it, it reduced their damage, and then the first skill, I think, reduced their armor, so you could damage them more. So it was more to get the the passive trait, those sort of traits, and it was for damage. So I wasn't really investing into stamina recovery, or stamina damage crit and stuff like that. But I had to put some into it on the great sword. I'm used to running great sword too. I'm not really much of an expert with running the sword and board. So I think I just decided, let's stay healed. Well, somehow I think I ran in circles enough, dropped enough AoE that the ads eventually died. And if I get in trouble, I remembered I can always just run in circles and heal and shield pop. And animation cancel in between with a weapon swap. So now that it's just him, it's not too hard of a fight. You just block when he tells you he's going to hit you with something that knocks you down with a heavy attack. If he silences you, there's not something else shooting damage at you, so you just move away from him. See, he's not too fast. It's just a little bit fast. You can block him. Hard for me to see 5 guys which got to block, but you can block him when you need to. That one's his ice thing. so I didn't block that one. I'm silenced now, so I can't heal, but it's not a very long silence. So just pay attention to that, don't panic, and then right after the silence, do that. I mean, before I'd seen fight, we just go all out and fight him. And then when it gets silenced, just get to the back bar and hit that. I got something that removes snares and immobilizations, but I don't think the Sigic ability does that and stops him, but that's not all CC, that's just a couple CCs. I don't think it's CC immunity, I think it's just immune to those CCs. Which is handy in fights. I get snared sometimes. It comes in handy, and this gives you speed and it gives you minor force. So I use all three of those. And it gives you a shield when you block. None of those alone would make me put on my bar, but having them all there. I generally like to put the ultimate on, since I'm only in pick which ultimate I need. And then that other ultimate is just so I can block and get a shield. That gold shield you see right there, that's a... I think it scales off your... No, I think it scales off your health, but I could be wrong. It may just be a fixed size. So I've got an ultimate I can drop on them. I don't seem to be too concerned about using. I should be. Atronach, because... Oh, and one of those... The second skill on Sword and Board, the one that is a defensive one. The one that reduces their damage. I think it makes you generate ultimate faster too. So that combined with killing undead in these dungeons, that combined with the Sorc having a lowered cost for ultimate. All three of those you can, and that with none of these, you know, I try to run ultimates that don't cost a lot. I can generate some ultimate pretty fast, especially that Sword and Board. Or if I want to use a 5-piece set that lets me do that, but ultimate's not important. I mean, that 5th trade on the fight is pretty important. It's got to be something really good. And the way I'm splitting it, if it's only on half the bars I'm on, like my 5th trait's only in order when I'm on that bar, so I want my 5th trait to be something that helps me on the other bar, like you can say a 5k. I don't know if my front bar is actually helping me. It helps me some, yeah. Gives me a heal. I don't know. I gotta think about that more. Maybe I should switch that front bar. Trinimac. But that Winter's Respite, definitely. The only disadvantage I see to that is you need the Greymoor edition. But a 2.3k heal is pretty good. I like the hatchling shell. I like the traits one. I wish maybe the armors were health. It'd be better. But that armor, I never really ran a lot of armor. But it's really nice when you put it with heavy, lots of heavy, and then enchant the heavy with Magika or Tristats. So I like that, but I just didn't like that shield. It was between a 5 and 8k shield depending on your stats, how much health you have. It's 22% of your health. So if you're running ungodly amounts of health, it could be. Let's see, if I'm running 30k is a lot of health. I was running some 33k builds, but 0.22 times 30. That's a 6.6 shield, a 6,600. So let's say I had another that could be a 7k shield, which is starting to be a pretty decent shield. And the other thing is on PTS, I'm usually running Ice Heart. It's another shield. So yeah, they're small shields, but when you got lots of small shields, they add up, you know. So if you're running a hatchling shell, and you're running that back bar thing, and you got that undo block, you know, you've got 3 or 4 5k shields. they add up. So if your hard reward can't get up or something, one of those might pop in automatically. So, I mean, if you're not blocking a lot, those Sigil Quarter Shields are good. They're good for a burst shield. But if you're blocking a lot, you're going to use it up while you're blocking. I guess it's going to protect. And I think you still get charged for a block in stamina. So in some ways, it's more burst thing. And then usually if you need a burst heal, you're in a bit of a panic. So in a panic, your normal thing is just to freeze and block, and then all your stamina goes, and you're in more trouble. So I don't know the exact. This fight's easy enough. I don't know the exact mechanics of it. Let's see if there's something he hits me with. Well, yeah. If you're in close, he's going to throw out those ghosts, and you probably won't be able to react to it. So it's probably going to fear you. So you probably want to keep your shield up and try to stay at max, because well, you should probably do that all the time, but there's some fights are less forgiving of it. You know, you need to be aware if that ghost comes up, you need to check your stats and see if the first thing I got to do is get my health up, and you'll learn to keep it up here. But he's not putting a lot of pressure on you. Know, the normal rotation I'm doing is pop a shield on a great sword bar, because it'll, and try to be within range close in, so you get that 5k damage on them. And then do some stamina swings at him. If you need stamina, do heavy attacks. And I'm gonna have to heavy attack some. I'm not, you know, it's not a DPS build. If you're learning, I saw this on Outcast animation thing, is when you're doing a heavy attack weave, I don't know if you need to do this all the time, but you can definitely use it to get the feel for when the heavy attack ends. Once you're a little bit ways into the heavy attack, as you're still holding the heavy attack keys, do the spammable skill you're about to hit, and then when it goes off, stop spamming it, and it'll time, you know, than trying to time it. And even if you don't do that, if you do that in practice, you'll get a feel for when it ends. But I mean, technically, if you're spamming it, you know, 20 times a second, then your skill would go off right as a heavy attack ended. But if you're doing it super fast, you won't be able to react to it, and you'll spam that skill twice, unless you cancel out of it and get to something else. So, but sometimes I do that. So I talked about the front bar, and then we get on the back bar, pop down the ground AoE, which will set off that frost, which will heal you, and then put weakness elements on them. On the main, if there's a main boss, put it on that, and then optionally, if you're good at rotations and you're keeping up with stuff, hit that the mage's guild thing to get the force, minor force. That when you crit damage, it'll give you 10% more. So I think I'm getting about somewhere between 15. Well, it's hybrid, so it may not be too great. So let's say it's between 10 and 15. Normally I'm getting close to 20 on a crit. And I'm getting a 10 from the minor force. I don't have a shadow. So I'm getting about 30 plus 50. I'm getting about 80% on a crit. 75%, I don't know. And I think on the spell side, if I'm drinking those pots, well, I'm using stand pots. If I'm not using stand pots, I think my crit is just under 50%. I could be wrong. But... Oh, and here's a math thing for you, okay, that you can think of in the crit department. If I square a number, I multiply the same number times the same number. It comes out higher than if I multiply a number one bigger and one smaller. An example of that would be 6 times 6 is 35. But 5 times 7, 5 is one smaller, 7 is one bigger. That comes out to be 35, just a little bit less. If I spread them further out away from the mean, so we'll do, instead of 5 times 7, we'll do 4 times 8. That comes out to be 4 times 8. Yeah, that's 24. That's much smaller than 36. So if you got two numbers that are exactly the same, and then you start spreading it apart about the mean, as they spread apart, the product of them becomes smaller until it's one on one, like 1 times whatever. See, 1 is 6 minus 5 is 1, so 6 plus 5. 1 times 11 is 11. That's much smaller than 36. So what on your crit, you know, your crit chance, let's say your crit chance is 50. You don't want to get your crit damage up to 90 at the cost of your crit chance. If it costs you just as much to get them the same. So you don't want to, if you got a 20% crit damage, you don't want to start trying to strive for a 90%. If you got a 20% crit chance, you don't want to strive for a 90% crit damage. You'd be better off to put the points in the crit chance and get the two closer together, because it ends up being, when you do the algebra on it, it's your normal damage plus you start out with 50% crit damage. Oh, I'm stuck in this. This is such a bug in the game. So luckily it's the type of build I can just heal and I don't have to keep something, you know, on them. It would be harder if I was a Stam Sorc and felt like I had to hit them with a venom arrow. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here, but and I noticed the ghost will knock you out of it. But anyway, so yeah, I was talking about that. So that's just a little tidbit for you. You know, everybody gets 50% crit damage. Your championship points will add to that, and then minor force adds to that. And I don't know if there's too many other places to get crit damage. Maybe Nightblade might have a place to get a little more. I'm not sure. But in my case, I mean, I'm not running that Sigil Order for, and there's two skills I know of that give you minor force: the Sigil Order skill and the Fighter's Guild ability, Trap Beast. Both give you 10% on your damage side. So, you know, with a low crit, you probably wouldn't want to run Trap Beast. Unless you wanted to actually you wanted another benefit from it. Like the minor force was a side benefit, which in my case, it's a side benefit. You know, it also gives me speed. And the speed helps a little bit in fights. It really helps a lot in my day-to-day play of just going out and farming stuff, doing jewelry rides, going to make my alts gear. She does all my crafting too. So she does all my she's got all the points in the scrying and excavation. I think she's at enough that I can farm gold ones. You know, I mean, if I got a few more points, I might. Like 1 out of 5. Not the scrying, but the excavation. The excavation, sometimes you get one that's just really unlucky and tough. But so 1 out of 5 I might not get, but that only means you have to redo it. It's not like you lost anything. It's probably just as much trouble to go out and ride to it and find it. I mean, it can be and then if you're not aware of the scrying and stuff like that, scrying's kind of like, well, it's kind of like these patterns you see, and you try to connect these dots with patterns that match. It's not too hard to do once you never fail at it. I think there was one point like getting from 4 to 5 where they got harder, but I didn't get the passives to make it easier. But towards the end, I'm thinking of just taking some skill points out of those passives. It's so easy. But the excavation, and I still don't have all the passives for that, but sometimes you get these things buried and you have to take off layers, and different tools take off different amounts of layers, and it's kind of a mental exercise because some tools take off 9 squares to the top in a certain layer, but that layer has to be showing in other things. Dig down deep and figure out what's best. Okay, so this is a single target build. I think I just wanted to, I think I had to take a break for a second, so I thought I'd leave it here. So probably when the break's over, I'm gonna swap the bars. So I figured I'd talk about something, but which I am talking about the scrying. But anyway, so yeah, so I scryed enough to get that Ring of the Wild Hunt, and then I looked at the ring. The rest of the Mystic stuff is things that maybe help Magika builds or PvP Magika builds, but they didn't. You know, I was mainly Stam. I just got intrigued with the 1-bar build because I just tried to make like one time I think I made a build that I said I want to hit a simple build that hits as few skills as possible on the Stam side, but I got something made. But anyway, so I've been making builds on the PTS. I got a bunch of them, but I decided I put my latest one because I'm really more proud of this one because it's not. I don't have all those. You know, I had to go out and get the Trinimac armor, and I had to decide if it's important enough for me to get the right divines infused or not. And I think the Trinimac is perfect. It's got infused on the chest. Well, I don't use the head. That's always going to be a monster set. And the rings, you know, the jewelry, and upgrade the jewelry, and get a magic ring, get a health ring. The magics were more expensive. But the mothers, I think I just came up with that as a wild hair. One thing I didn't ever like about the hatchling shell is this one shield for 10 seconds. And it's not a huge shield if I can bring it up. Which technically you shouldn't be on the back bar more than 10 seconds. But, I mean, you should do a bar swap in 10 seconds. So in a way, it's an extra shield during a rotation. But when you think about that, that's like a shield is like 10k healing. A 10k shield is 10k healing. But what if I just got 2k healing a second, you know? So I guess a shield is better for bursts in some ways. But it's going to go away and it only lasts for... I don't know. I guess that can leave you some pretty big shield numbers. But I thought I'd try this anyway, and I just went out and bought, you know, looked for and farmed a little bit, and what I couldn't farm, I just... So I think I got well fitted, and I had to get rid of my heavy, get that heal though. That's the thing. So she's pretty squishy. She's not as forgiving when she doesn't have a shield, or when her health isn't up high. Like at 30k, she's a lot more squishy than 30k is with a lot of shields and 30k with a lot of armor. When you're 30k with a lot of armor, you can almost not worry about your shield being up, except for a few, as long as you're not doing some one shot. You know, if it's certain places in a fight or certain bosses, you don't even have to worry about your shield. You just got to be ready to put it up if trouble happens. But with this, you got to be a little more careful about it. I think that's what was bothering me maybe during that one fight. I've gotten into some bad habits. I mean, usually, you know, people that play squishy Magika swords, they're like, they don't ever miss a shield up. They die when their shield's not up because they're squishy. Of course, they got bigger shields too. Well, not too much bigger because they don't have a ton of health. Takes a lot of health to run a big shield. It used to not scale with health or be limited. Back then, you could have a big 20k shield. Okay, I got to make sure this is recording because this is the second time I've done it. I just got to the end of it and looked over and it didn't say stop recording, which means I didn't record anything. I'm commenting on a previous fight, so I want to make sure my comments are being recorded. Okay, I've done this dungeon thousands of times, but I always run down there just to see if there's something there. And every time I go there, it's empty. So, and then I turn over here. Yeah, and I fight this fight. Okay, this is for later. After I fight this, I go to the final boss and skip the intermediate boss. But anyway, so this is the boss, and then since okay, I won't jump ahead, but okay. So these are just ads. So I switched to the AoE build. And it took the mages to light off a while back because we went back to... That was just a special thing for that one boss, this mini boss that for some reason is giving me troubles. It never has. This is the 10th time I've done this. And for some reason on this build it's giving me problems. Maybe that hatchling shield's better than I thought. I don't know. It does give you a ton of armor and heavy armor. I may have to switch back to my hatchling shell and do this. I think I did it with that and got through the fight and died with Aethor. The first time Aethor having just made a stupid mistake. So after running it over and over with this, I don't think it's going to change my rotation much. I could do it the same rotation just with a different gear and see. And just get a better evaluation of the two builds. So what that heal, that's a 2k heal. It saved me Magika. It saved me overusing my pet to heal. And if my pet dies, it's not the end of the world. It's not good, but it's not the end of the world. But I bet it's healing the pet too, because my pet hadn't been dying a lot. Where if that pet's got a 7k, yeah, I'll have to, I think that heals, that's healing the pet, that's keeping that freaking pet alive. That's one good thing about that. I'm talking about that Winter's Respite, that heal that's going down versus I used to have a 7k shield every time I switched my back bar came on. I mean, one of the reasons this is harder is I just about I always run this with Ice Heart. So there's another 5k shield, 5 or 6k. And I don't have, depending on how many Bastion points I have in it. And I try to run it with about the same championship points, but they're probably a little bit better on the PTS build because every time I change my championship points, it costs me 3,000 gold. And me being cheap, I just don't do it very often. But on PTS I got millions of dollars, so I just play with it, you know. I'll switch it on a whim. And I think there's add-ons that you can save different champion point. I probably need to get one, but my view on add-ons is run as little as possible and add them one at a time and see how they affect stuff. I think the add-ons, are there any add-ons you can, I'm running that dressing room. I just added that. That's when I really started messing with these builds on this, because now I can keep track of what's what. But dressing room in itself is kind of got a learning curve, and it's got its quirks. But it will let you save stuff too. If you remember what gear you got it, like if let's say a week ago I put hatchling shell in there and give it a name in dressing room and give it a build. A week later I decide these skills are better like this, so my habit of how I use the skills has changed. And then let's say my inventory gets full and I say I'm not using this hatchling shell, so I put half of it somewhere else, which God knows if I ever find it again. So then when I tell dressing room to go to that build, there's no hatchling shell for it to open. And then I've decided I'm going to start running my odd stuff, my odd utility things on 6, or like for the pet, you know, like some builds. Sometimes I like to put I switch the bar and go 1, 2, 3. They're the most forward buttons on my mouse. Other times I like to say, let's put the inconvenient thing on 2. And then I really don't want this skill on 3 because I have to hit 3, 4 and they're right next to each other and I can do it in one motion. Or sometimes I don't have a spammable on a bar, and so I want to hit 1, 4, which are right next to each other. So for whatever reason I switch how I'm doing it. Then when I go to that old build, I'm in different habits of how I hit the buttons on the mouse. So, which is just going to happen because I got alts playing all classes. Except I hadn't played a Dragon Knight in a while. I got just low levels playing Dragon Knights. There's some Templar builds. They're pretty, I'm not as familiar with it, but they're pretty fun. I just did a Necromancer, and then I just came back to ESO in June, and 2 years ago I played it when Somerset came out and was playing Wardens, and I hadn't played my Wardens hardly at all. Just enough to talk to my son about it, who just switched to a Warden or played it. And then I heard a Warden got nerfed after I left, and they're not as strong as they used to be, but I don't know. I mean, all classes. Oh, Nightblades. I've been playing. I got a bunch of Nightblade builds. They're pretty fun. I never played Nightblade a lot, but every time I do it, I feel like at first I'm lost, and then the more I do it, the more I'm like, oh, this is just so OP when I get this rotation going. And that's with completely different builds too. I got a vampire one, and I tried. I think they're all vampires because I got into vampires right when I got back, and I think I talked about this. I made a Necromancer who can keep up misform and put down AoE damage. And she makes some stuff easy, like doing. I don't think she's done it on vet mode, but on normal mode, doing the Lambris twins. It would be easier for the Necro Vampire to do than for my Stam Sorc to do or this Sorc to do. I mean, it's not a very hard fight either way because there's not all of a sudden you got to make huge mistakes. I don't think it's possible to die with these sort of builds on normal mode. I mean, I guess you could die. I don't know. I think no. I don't think. No, I think you can just heal through it all problems. I don't think they. So, but I think she could do it faster or whatever. She didn't. She didn't have to block. That's what's easy about it. When she's in misform, nothing can touch her. It's just the problem is she. I mean, she can stay in misform forever, but at some point she's not doing any damage and she's not getting healed. When all her AoE, she has to go back to the back bar and lay down about optimally. Optimally when she goes out, she either hits her ultimate recovery one, and then right after that, she hits a magic chain that brings in Magika, and then she starts hitting the health guardian. And now this is my form of this. There's other people that have done it, but this works with spell parasite and crafted gear, and a Breton, not a high elf. Okay, so I died here. God, I meant to fast forward through this. Well, you saw most of this fight, so I'm not going to make you sit through and watch me. I'll just show him dying this next time. It's pretty much the same fight, and I've been talking about other stuff. So we got him down to 1.4 health. You saw me get him down to almost all the health, so we'll just show him die here. So at the beginning of the fight, the fire's not going out, and when the whole thing turns pink. Now, when the fire's not going out, when it turns pink, it doesn't do a lot of damage. It doesn't knock you down, so it's not much to worry about. Just get your bus up or block. I don't even need to block. I notice when I don't block, it doesn't matter. But when the fire goes down, the fire will damage you, and you do need that, which I didn't have then. I think when I died, I had 15k health and no shields, and I was being aggressive, which I shouldn't have been that way. So that was a mistake on my part. What sort of mode have we got to? Okay. So what is Windows doing? Okay, so he's down to 89. So let's pop up his shield and put an end to his life. See, that'll knock you down. So, which is more of an inconvenience than any sort of problem. But I am being more careful because I died right here the last time. So instead of just going to him, whacking him with my execute until I have no stamina and not paying attention to my shields, I'm being a little bit slower and more methodical. But he died. So now I go in here, and then every time I do Crypto Hearts, I go heading to kill the final boss. Every time I do Crypto Hearts, after I kill him, I want to kill that final boss. Hit the mobs right before him, then kill him. So you see I've turned to go hit the final boss. But I should have gone straight ahead because there's a boss over here. Every time I do this, I don't go there. And sometimes I even try to kill the final boss and see it won't let me fight him. So let's go into this fight with no food. Okay, I remember to put food up. Okay, this is not too hard of a fight. Except I did notice if you don't kill him fast enough, and usually I kill him fast enough, and I think I noticed the time before I did this, so the DPS may not be too great. But again, I'm not wearing pants. And if I had that ring of torque tonal consistency, on one side I wouldn't have to heavy attack, because it'd be giving me higher regens. Like I'm going to have to heavy it. You know, this build doesn't even have a spammable except that execute on the Magika side, because the heavy attack does so much damage on Magika. I mean, I don't have a shock. I have the enchant on this is absorb Magika. I could probably switch that to a shock enchant and then be setting off that Lambris. That's probably my problem with, you know, I wonder if that's the problem with this, is that So I think on the other build I had the shock enchant, which when all that shock, when I heavy attack with that, it sets the Lambris off more often. I don't know, maybe. I mean, the Lambris hits pretty hard. I was running Craig's with this, and I was running on the PTS where I can run Ice Heart. I was trying out Lambris when I'm finding, you know, I can solo bosses easily. I don't know if I could do the Lambris Twin. I don't know if I tried it, the Lambris Twins without Ice Heart, but here I'm doing it without Ice Heart, so I don't have Ice Heart. I'm waiting for somebody to come with me. I think I could go get it. I hadn't done the final part past the 2 pressure plates you got to stand on. Because you can't do it solo anymore. You know, one time there used to be tricks to, but there's 2 pressure plates midway, almost to the end, that 2 people have to stand on to open a gate, and so you got to get somebody to come in and help you do that. So I ran it bet up to that point, and then and I got another account I'm leveling. Maybe if nobody helps me, somebody may help me this weekend. I didn't join the guild since I came back. Or I'm in a small guild, but it's not super active. I doubt they even have comms. Okay. But it's a good guild. It's a vampire guild. And they gave me a vampire bite, and they seem to be pretty good guys. But anyway, if I can get that other account leveled to 50, my main, then I'll, it's my daughter's account. I don't think it's against TOS for a family to have 2 accounts. Okay, so now I remembered I have to go back and kill that boss. So there's another little mini bone colossus. So I just like swinging a greatsword at stuff. It can't be a battle axe or a maul. I think Briarheart is a little bit hard to find a great sword, but I've only bought one. But so I like the great sword. Oh, I also made a set. There's some set that you get some bonus when you I don't know if it helps for dungeon content, but you get some sort of bonus when you charge them. So I was running that set with
How may I serve?
oh, some sort of strange heal damage thing. So I was running that set with the charge and sword and board. I never tried. I don't know what the set was. Maybe I was doing it on PTS. I can't remember. I've done it on here. I've got so much gear that I don't want to deconstruct.
How can I help you?
But I hate to make another set or go buy. It's even more expensive to go buy. Then you got to upgrade it, and then you buy a bunch in the wrong trait, and then you buy it in the right trait. But the jewelry is easier to get if you go buy it, if you have to make the jewelry. Although I've been doing rights. I didn't do rights before, because a long time ago it seemed like... okay, before I get into this discussion, just... little things of pink are going to come out with him. Just move to the side of him. I don't know what they never seem to damage me very much if I just move out of it and just go through your rotation. I don't know what he has that can threaten you. This is one of the easiest bosses in the whole thing. There's no ads. The pinks go down in the same spot. I think if he does something that does pick you up, and you have to break free from it. So if you get pulled in the air, break free from it, and then re-heal. So that's the summary of this fight. It doesn't put a lot of pressure on you, so you can keep your rotation going. See, you can just stand right next to him and just move to the side out of this pink. That's all you got to do. I tried to change my colors, so the green I'm getting from that one thing was covering up. See, when I get on the great sword and I hit a shield, see that green, that's a buff I'm getting. It was covering up the monster thing. So I tried to make that pink more bright and less translucent, and but I don't know. They both look translucent to me. It's still kind of hard to tell. And I still sometimes see the green and start running away because I'm like, oh, I'm in a bad area. But it's just my own. Green is a good thing. But anyway, yeah. So let me try to think about what I was talking about before I started. Yeah, that's he'll pick you up, so break free, step out of the ping, and start your rotation again. We'll watch my health. See, I'm not even hitting the shield on the back bar. I mean, I usually try to save it to when I get back on the front. Now, maybe if I was a little more. See, my magical bar is full. I could probably put a shield down on both bars. Probably might be a good. It's on both bars, so it's really on the. I mean, lots of people run builds. They usually run hard and ward on one bar, so not hitting it on that bar is not that uncommon. It's just there for a panic if things get bad. If you get confused what bar you're on, it's not going to be fatal. The only thing that could be fatal with this is if your pet dies and you're not aware of it. But I noticed that pet's not dying a lot on this build. So that could be the pet stays inside that little... That's got to be healing him for a lot. Because I don't think I've had my pet die. I've noticed my pet hasn't been dying, but usually sometimes when you have super big shield builds, I don't know, I've just had builds where I'm so tanky, I don't need to be healing or shielding myself. That, yeah, I'm not dying, but my pet's dying, and then when I need to build, I gotta reinitialize the pet, which is long, and there isn't no way to animation cancel it. It's a long cast. It's a long cast. Okay, hitting that ultimate. See, this is easy enough. I feel like I can keep a rotation going, get that ultimate down. Can't remember to both put my ultimate down and drink my spell pots, but okay, I'll forgive myself. Because that spell pots is what gives me spell crit and weapon damage. Now there are add-ons that'll pop big bright things on that say drink your potion. And there are add-ons. Let's say I was playing a Sorc and you don't want to let crit surge ever go down. It'll pop. It'll keep a bright countdown going. You can tell it which things to really watch. But I don't know. I think most of those add-ons, there's about 3 things I want to do, and there's a zillion options, and everything's out of date these days. And anytime you add an add-on, it can mess up everything. So I just add something, get it working, and then add something, get it working. And by the time I got it all perfect, I quit again for a while. So, but maybe I won't quit this time because I play BDO a lot, but I'm really kind of, now that I've been away from it, that's just such an expensive game. And it doesn't have to be, but it ends up being. I mean, it has to be if you want to be in it. Like, I'm at soft cap, but things have gone beyond soft cap. Soft cap is all it's all Roman numeral 4 gear. It's Tet. They call that Tet in that game, Roman numeral 4. They call Roman numeral 5 the very top pin. Pin chances are 0.3% of getting a pin. And if you spend expensive fail stacks, it'll take forever to make 100, 200 fail stacks. The only way you get those things is failing tech gear. Anyway, I'm tech gear and that's off cap. That used to be pretty good at one time, but now it's ping gear, and the only way to get ping gear is A, have lottery luck, or B, get your credit card out and go buy a $30 costume, or maybe 2 or 3, and then go melt that costume and get cron stones. And then when you go for that 0.3% chance times 100 fail stacks, so that 100's gonna be, it's like 11 times 0.03, so you got about a 4% chance of hitting it, something like that. But it's very expensive to do. It just costs you $30 and a lot of in-game resources. And if you don't cron it, 19 out of 20 times you're going to fail it. You now have a piece of tech gear. And that tech gear, even with the fail stack, it's probably got a 10% chance of failing. Let's see. Tech gear is about 5%. Let's say it's 5. 5 times 90. 5 times. No, it can't be that high. I think tech's got to be 2%. 2. Okay, so that tech might be 1 in 5. But, and also, it's very, anyway, you know, to get your gear up, you gotta do that. And you don't have to do that, because you don't have to get your gear up. Or, you don't have to, you can just keep you can not spend money and let it downgrade and downgrade, and then spend another 3 months getting one of your 14 pieces and playing around the clock to get that one, but you got 14 other pieces you got to upgrade. And then, to make matters worse, you know, in ESO, if I've got gold, as long as I got gold weapons, whether I got try enchants, or I just got regular cheap health stats, whether my gear is purple or blue, at least purple. It makes a little difference, but not a lot. It's not like, I may raise my stats 5%, but like the difference between pin gear and tech gear is like, you're not even gonna touch that tech player. It's like 50% more damage and 100% more sustain. Okay, so I think it's time for, so we got to the end of this. So now let's load up the other one and we'll comment on that. So we'll stop. Okay, so this is the fight. I think I'd do a brief go over the gear here again, just so you can see, you know. Maybe I'll splice some of this out. Okay, so that's the gear. You can pause it and look at it. I've talked a lot about its Lambris, Trinimac's Valor, and a Winter's Respite, and the Ring of the Wild Hunt, minus a pair of pants. The only unique thing about this build is I'm not wearing any pants while I solo this. And I don't know if anybody soloed it in Mythic gear. You know, there's a lot of older videos of this happening. First they're on normal mode, then vet mode, then vet hard mode. But I don't know if anybody's ever recorded it being soloed with no pants. So there, I'm a first. I could be wrong though. Maybe people have done it. It's just I don't know if it's on. I hadn't found it on YouTube. I think if you search solo vet dungeon no pants, you're gonna come to my builds. And I'm sure there's people that can do it better, and there's people that have played this game since it was released non-stop. I played it for 2015 it was released, maybe 14. I was in pre-beta and I played it.
You're the one who's been undoing our work.
I think for I don't know how long, but I think they made a bunch of changes I didn't like, and I felt like I had to go get new gear, all new gear, and my whole play style had to change, and it was just off. I mean, I played a lot of MMOs now, so I'm more used to this, but it's just off people whining in forums and them like taking a poll. It's almost like they took a poll. What do y'all? Who's got the most forum votes? And then they go change. You know, you should be able to not switch things around so much. Just people learn to live with it, and then not make such drastic changes in new releases, so you have to change things. And no two classes are ever going to be all the same, but whatever. Now I'm used to playing BDO where there's massive class imbalances. I mean, if BDO, the witch, I think it's Witch Wizard, has a ability called Protected Area. The only person that has it. Well, technically that's not true. Valkyrie has it, but nobody complains about it, and I don't play either one enough to know the difference. But you know, like, you can have half the gear as a witch wizard and a guild will let you in because they need a lot of protected areas, because the way they fight is Team A is 3, you know, let's say you have 48 witches and you divide 48 by, I mean, this is an example. It's probably not, it's made up completely on me. Let's say it's 24. Let's say it's 20 to make the math easy. There's 5 witches on A, B, C, D, and when he says A defenses or A protected area or A witches or A protected area, all those witches lay down protected area and everybody underneath it, I think they take no damage for anything for 10 seconds. So you get those things series up. So the number of witches is just, and they've never fixed that. They keep tweaking around other stuff. But so anyway, that's fine, and that's in balance. But meantime, they've nerfed sorcerer continuously since the game started, to where they're like a class with a good shield and good passes. Okay passes. I'll say good. And nothing else really great. No other great class skills. But somehow their passes seem to work well with like weapon skills and other stuff. I don't know. And a third of their skills are, well, not every Daedric summoning you'd have the ward. Oh, well, 2 of them really, because there's only 2 pets really in actuality. But lots of passes are tied to pets. And they even took that away. It used to be when your pet died, you got tons of health. But they're switching that to the next thing to when I think they're going to nerf that a little bit too. But anyway, when I quit, they changed sorcs. They made them less powerful, and they made the pet sorcs more powerful. So it almost forced you to run pets. So that's why I hadn't run lots of pet builds. Okay, so the Lambris fight. When he does a heavy attack, you need to block it. That's the Lambris fight. It's probably easier to kill Aethor, the Mad Melee Man, because you aren't going to remember who Aethor is, than I forgot the mage in the middle's name, but we'll just call him the mage in the middle. The mage in the middle is gonna he'll throw out little fireballs that don't hurt you too bad. But when you saw that flame come down, when one flame comes down, if you stand in that very long, that's gonna hurt real bad. It'd probably kill a DPS if he didn't block. See, you saw my health drop about 17k. Well, with the other stuff coming in. So you have to keep an eye on Aethor, but you have to keep an eye on those flames coming in too, because Aethor. Well, you got to keep more than an eye on Aethor, because really, you not only have to block that heavy attack. If you start to block when he's actually swinging at you, when you could actually block an attack in real life, you could block at the last minute. But something about the mechanics of it. You have to start that block earlier, it doesn't register. So, and I hadn't got the timings down to how late you can wait to do it, but it's a lot earlier than you think it is. If you do it in just intuitively a block, it's not going to count as a block. You're going to get knocked down. And when you get knocked down, if you got a lot of health, you can just get back up. You know, if you're tanky like this build is, you can get back up. Unless you get knocked into one of those little globe things. You get knocked into one of those little globes. Or you get knocked down and hit by that rolling fire. I can probably live through it if I got my shields and everything up. But I'm going to be in pretty bad shape after it happens. And he does some other spell that's decent damage. Maybe it's only after he's enraged, where an expanding pink circle around him expands to the whole screen except for the outer periphery, and then he drops fire everywhere. But I think that's only when he's enraged. So, you know, I'm fighting Aethor first. That's a tactical. That's tactics. You could fight the other one first. If you're a group, you might fight them both at the same time, because when one of them dies, the other one becomes enraged. I don't think the mage in the middle being enraged is that. The mage in the middle is pretty easy fight. You just got to pay attention. You got to not get so bored you don't pay attention, which I did die today because I got so bored I didn't pay attention. And I got greedy, and I ran to the middle and started doing executes on them. And I didn't have my shield up. So, you just gotta not be stupid. So I had to redo the fight. The hard part's killing Aethor. But I don't think I've died here. This is the first time I tried it. I tried it a couple times earlier. I mean, I've done this with a lot of different builds, so I'm starting to learn it pretty well. But still, you know, I mean, you'll see times where I run out of stamina, where he does knock me down. I have to run and recover. I was saying earlier, you know, if you're in a 4-man group, probably like you to stay in the same place and not run all over the place. But if I'm about to die, I gotta move. And if he knocks me down, I'm now in one. If he knocks me down, like right now, my shield's about to go. Yeah. I mean, you got to keep that shield up. You got to watch him. Yeah, I don't know what happens when all that paint gets real big. I just stay out of it. But You'll see him knock me down a few times, or maybe I run out of stamina. And I've learned it's just best not to fight him when that happens. I'll just run in circles around the screen and heal and shield, which I probably can do with a stamina class. But that's a little harder to do with a stam sort because you got to keep crit surge up and keep an AoE on something. You can keep it on Aethor, but you're not going to get the healing you get with this. I mean, it can be done. It's a harder move. On Stam Sword, I run across the middle of the screen and go to my back bar. And I probably have an AoE on the front bar, and I pop it on the middle guy because I know he won't move. So I have something to crit, make sure crit surge is up. And I hit the fast run so I can outrun him. And then by the time I'm on the other side, I start resituating for the fight. But here on these, we'll call it bubble sorcs, especially that wild hunt ring, I can just exit the fight anytime and just start healing on a bar swap and popping my shield. And she has enough health that if she doesn't have a shield up, as long as I'm not knocked down, nothing's going to kill me. It's not that critical if I get my shield wiped out. What is critical is if it gets into my base health. I mean, it's not that critical if I'm in the right place. I mean, if I'm in that pink circle over there, or I'm on the ground and he rolls fire into me, it's pretty critical. But see, I got knocked down there, so I just pop it. I do that. I pop a shield. I'm back. I get that heal from that thing pop there. I'm not even having to heal that much. Even with the shield going down. Okay, so here I'm being really crazy. I should have been getting shields up and healed. I could have got one shot right there. Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm being a little bit lucky here. I don't know. That fire doesn't hurt you that bad. It just hurts you. Now, sometimes he will pop down. Okay, I'll tell you what could have got me. You see those little pink domes? Is if I'm sitting there at 15k health, Aether will do a spell. Aether makes those pink domes, and they randomly, like right there, you saw that go there? Well, that came down with some telegraph. I knew to step out of it, but I have had times where my health's low. But not super low, like 12k, 15k, and I die, and I just see one of those things got cast on me, and like right there, you saw me standing in it. I walked out, didn't do anything to me, except take down my shield maybe. It's a 15k shield, so that's 15k of damage, I guess. I don't know. I've had him. I've said, how did I die then? And I just didn't have a shield up, and he cast that thing on me, and my health was slightly low, but maybe when I'm thinking slightly low. We'll see. Okay, I'm 18k. I don't think it hurt me. I don't think it killed me if he... But not only did it do that, like... Let's see if we see him cast one. Usually it's telegraphed in some way when he casts it. Maybe it's after it's up, you can walk in it for a second. I mean, it seems to be a damage per second sort of thing. Who knows what it is? The game could lag. It could say it's here and be there. It could say you could be seeing it start now, and it could have started 2 time frames before. It's an MMO, so I don't know. I just had one. I thought I was cheated. Watch it. See that thing there. Okay. I'm at 17k. I laid that. If I would have just stayed there and fighted it, that thing could have healed me. Okay, now watching this, I don't feel like I got a lot of stamina problems, but... Well, I did just change my enchant. I did just change an enchant to stamina right before this. On the one that I died not paying attention at the very end. And I felt like I was having to stop and heavy attack all the time. And that just stops my rotation. Whatever rotation you can manage to sustain when you have to stop and heal yourself every time you mess up a block. Even if you don't mess up the block, you got to spend 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds blocking to feel like you're safe. I mean, a good player could maybe only block for a second or a half a second, but I mean, you got to start that block early, not a half a second, because that's too late before the attack comes. I don't know where the point is that when he swings that, but look how long that lasts. But you have to start it during the wind up for the thing, not when the attack has started. And then he didn't even do it. He acted like he was going to do it, and then didn't. Like, it seemed like at one time, okay, at least I know that when he does that heavy attack, it's over and he's not going to do it again. But a couple times today, I thought I saw him do it, and I blocked it and said, okay, I can go do some damage on him now. And then, see, he did 2 in a row right there. Well, no, those are different attacks. I'm just paranoid and trying to block everything. See, it's when the white lines are coming out from him. It's just with all the special effects and stuff, it's hard to see the white lines. I'm probably am over blocking. Which with all these shields, you know, with lots of shields, if you're playing heavy armor and lots of spell and physical resist and no shields, and sword board and block doesn't cost you a lot, then when you block, you don't take very much damage, and you got enough health and recovery to handle that. That's one play style. When you're playing shields, your armor doesn't do anything for you. The shield comes down. It doesn't, unless they change the game. You know, all your resistances and all that stuff don't come into account until the shield comes down. All his penetrations and elemental damages, it's just his shield takes damage. I think that's how it used to be. So what I'm saying is, when I have a shield up, whether I'm blocking or not, I'm going to take the same damage. The shield's going to come down just as fast. I'm going to have to put it right back up. Okay, so we got him down. I mean, his health's down. We're handling him. See, my stamina's low. I'll show you there. Let's see. Let's get the. Just going to demonstrate this to talk about the fight a little bit. See, over block. See, that block took some out. I'm just blocking a lot, so I got no stamina recovery. So I glanced down and see my health's down. So I said, let's just run around. So I popped the heal. Yeah, I think I looked down. I had health pots, or stam pot, so I just took a stam pot. But if I didn't, I would have ran in circles around there till I got a stam pot, or at least felt comfortable enough. I was in a good position with lots of shields. Put down that AoE healing, and then start doing some heavy attacks with some good backups going. And then if he took down my shields and something unlucky happened, I'd run around and do that again if I'm out of stamina. Well, if I'm out of stamina, I can't block. So I have that execute, but I'm hesitant to use it because it uses up my stamina, and I know I'm going to have to block, and I want to reserve for mistakes. Like right now, it's sitting at 100%, but I like that reserve. I mean, she's a hybrid. She's not a pure stamina class, so she can go through that pretty quick. Okay, so there we're fighting. See, the green heals me, and it damages him. So his health's down, so I'm getting. So yeah, I want to hit him with that execute, but I don't have any shields up. I don't have full health. So after I block, the first thing I do Let's get to the other bar and pop down that bubble. I should anyway. Don't know why I didn't. Well, I lay down that ground healing. Hopefully I don't run out of it. So I'm in a double heal right there. But I can just switch bars and hit the pet heal too to get that. I mean, it's just a mechanic. But I can switch bars and hit the pet heal. It just uses up Magika. You see, my resources are great now. Not having any resource problems. I could probably even take something out of resources and put it in spell damage. Might be a good thing to do for this build. I think stamina is the only thing, and not in this fight, but other fights I had a few problems, but that was more mistakes I made. I mean, if you get yourself, like in that one mage fight, I was dying with the 5 ads around him that seemed to do a lot of damage. I mean, if your health goes down halfway and you panic and just sit there and block, yeah, you'll block the damage for a little while, but if you don't stop blocking and get a heal going or something, that stamina's going to run out in about 5 seconds. That's why I usually hadn't been a big blocker, but... So that's what I was trying with the sword and board, to learn to block, because block takes a lot of resources, it blocks more damage, but it's still hard. I mean, instead of blocking, I can just run away, pop shields, pop health, and if I'm on the back bar, I had that up. Okay, so my health's low here, but I do have a shield up. Okay, so I recovered it all like that. It's just I have to do spells to do that, and then if I heavy attack him on the definitely on with the channeled lightning staff, and I don't think it happens sometimes with it. Some things you'll heavy attack and then hit block, and the block won't register. It's like I blocked that. I started the block a half a second ago, and it didn't register in the game. So it's almost like you have to cancel the skill or something. And maybe there's a certain thing that cancels it. Maybe it's a bug. I don't know. And then sometimes lightning heavy attacks just won't stop. And so you'll be in the middle of a heavy attack, and then you'll switch it to a block, and the block doesn't register. Okay, so I'm in trouble there. I've accidentally hit the menu screen. It wasn't as bad. When you see that red around the edges, you don't know if you got 2 health or a full bar. But so I ran away, got a layer of healing down, got my shields up. I'll take the hit I made to pop a shield, and then switch bars, pop that down to get a new layer of healing going. Pink's coming into me, so that pink probably knocked me down, not him. But if I had less health, I would probably be hitting the shield then healing. But sometimes I just do the health. I know I can take most attacks, just can't take a double attack. Okay, so he's dead, and I took my bounty because the last time. But well, let's see. I didn't think I got much for that. Did I just get gold after that whole fight? I just have to see this. If I just got 139 gold after killing him. Let's see what the... It'll show what I got for all this work. So I'm going to search him and see what I get. Isn't that such a ripoff? You do that whole fight. You kill a boss monster and you get 132 gold. I can make 132 gold in see, when I'm doing right, I make 2,000 to 5,000 gold in 4 minutes. So that's about 1,000 a minute. I don't know. median number is 3,000. Sometimes I do it 3 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes, but on the order of 1,000 a minute. So I think I spent, what time is it? 2:49. I think I probably started that 2 minutes into it. That was yeah, it took me about 22 minutes before. When I'm playing a stam Sorc, killing him, or a hybrid that's stam based, you know, these pet Sorcs are Magika based. You're trying to get your magic up as high as you can to get a big shield. And health up as high as you can to get a big shield. I might get armor up real high on a stam Sorc, or I might just kill fast. I might use medium armor. I might not be as health concerned. I mean, usually I'll do that, but there's other ways to do it. I mean, I think I could beat this with 25, 23k health. I don't think I feel like I need. But yeah, I would have more. Well, I'm running a hurricane, so that's getting my passes up real high. And if I'm running 7th Legion, not only I'm running hurricane, but I'm usually using a bar swap technique similar. So I've got 7th Legion on my front bar, and it'll give me 15 seconds of about 400 health recovery and about 400 weapon damage, and a big fire will go around me. And when that 7th Legion fire goes out, on this version, it means I got about 3 seconds till a hurricane goes out. But on the new PTS, they're both going to go out at the same time, which isn't great. But it's not. It's a 15-second where everything else is 10-second cooldown, so it kind of screws things up for good rotation. But if you run that with Briarheart works off. When you crit, you have this % chance of Briarheart proccing. And Briarheart's going to change to where, I think, to where just if you crit. Something like that. So Briarheart's going to go off a lot more. So Briarheart 7th Legion is kind of overall better than it used to be. Yeah, I think it's just when you crit, Briarheart goes off. Because, you know, you got a chance to crit, and then when they throw another chance, they're trying to get rid of server calculations in this next thing. So, it won't have to calculate that. It's already calculating if you crit. So okay, the end fight. Let me comment on that. For this build, it's just heavy attack. Keep your shield up. Put down weakness to elements in. It's pretty easy. It's got a 20-second cooldown. I'm trying to do it every round just so I don't miss it, but I guess if I'd practice, I mean, I'm not the type of guy to practice a certain build long enough to know every other time, or have kind of 2 different rotations where at the beginning of one cycle A, I hit it at the beginning, and at the end of cycle B, I hit it. I mean, the people that are hitting record DPS numbers have rotations like that, but I have a hard enough time just doing a rotation. Especially in a real fight. I mean, yeah, it's one thing on a target dummy. But then it's boredom. You mess it up too from boredom. So anyway, the rotation is, I don't have to worry about the front bar. The only thing the front bar gives me is that 5k heal, which I really don't need for this fight. And when I get in close, there's a 5k damage I can put down them, but there's nothing on the front bar I really need until the fight's halfway over. And then I'd like to use my execute, but it puts me in the middle, and usually I run in and attack him. Usually I'm a little more tanky in this. I can take damage without a shield for a little while. Like I've watched fights where my shield is down for 20 seconds and I finally died and realized that either crit surge was down or my shield was down. I've ran in circles and fought for a while, and they're tanky enough they can do this. But this, when the shield goes down, I mean, it's going to go through her health pretty fast. it makes a difference. I never realized. I'm just starting to realize watching this how squishy she is. You know, two builds can both be 50k of health and shields, but if you got a lot of armor behind that, it does help it. Armor, percent damage reductions. It's only on one bar. It's on the bar she's on now. She's got no, the front bar. On the front bar, we've got the Andana skill, so we've got the. She's more tanky on the front bar. Maybe that's what I need to do on that one fight, is stay on the front bar and just be aware of when I'm on the back bar, and or put something on it that there are other things that you can put on it, or skills, or that give you that minor protection. I think that's minor protection that is given me, which is 8% damage reduction. So anyway, let me say the rotation again, because I think I keep interrupting myself. Heavy attack him, because I don't have a spammable, but that's usually I run this with the shock enchant, but I just felt like since I'm experimenting, see where I'm at, I'd use absorb Magika. So with the shock enchant, it would be setting up Briar, but Briar Heart's going off anyway, because after that I'm laying down ground somewhere in there. Should be laying down ground AoE on them, because it's healing me too. And then I should be hitting weakness to elements on them. See which one of these is weakness to elements. I didn't even know. If anybody watches this, I'd like to see. Okay, she just laid down that. Let's see. Weakness to elements is at number 4. That's where my normally spammable is. But I don't have a spammable. That's really a debuff. Yeah, I'm trying to get in now that he's half health. Hit him with that, but I died before doing that, not paying attention. So now I'm like, before I go in, I'm like, let's make sure all your shields are up. Let's not stay in there a long time, so you have to roll dodge out and do it right. So that time I was in there and just felt like I'm getting out of here. I wanted to do it. I mean, if you stay on the outside, as long as you just don't forget, and usually I'll forget once to put down my shields, but I mean, he can wipe them out pretty quick too. Okay, so that's enraged. He throwing down flame everywhere. But you can stay outside of it. And I don't know what that pink thing does. I think it knocks you down. I wonder. Yeah, and then I don't know what happens if you just stand in those pink things, when they all go off, they turn into a firestorm, but you just don't want to stand in them. Oh, so that lays out a big fire. That's what that big expanding pink thing, right? Oh well. You can't figure out how to work the controls on this. I'd have to go back too far, but the big pink circle that comes out from the middle will turn into a big thing of fire eventually when it hits the periphery. So if I was playing a Stam Sorc, I would be doing this at range with a Venom Arrow, which doesn't do as much damage as this. It doesn't do as much damage as my lightning staff is doing, but the way I have to do the fight to get the crit surge to go off, I keep AoE on him pretty much the whole time. So once the melee madman Aethar dies, he's pretty close. He's probably at 3,000 health. He's probably dropped 1,700 health. He's starting to get pretty close to half health. Where if we look, I bet we didn't take any health off him. I bet he was 4. Of his 4-7, I bet he's 4-5. Keep dropping your ultimate. I mean, really all you have to do for this is just every 6 seconds hit your shield. or if you see you make a mistake, hit it. 'Cause his normal things aren't going to damage you that bad, as long as you step out of the rolling fire. So keep your shield up. Drop the ground AoE on them, which will heal you too. Hit weakness to elements on them, which is key 4. And then it helps if you keep minor force up, which is key 6. Not so much for the minor force. See, step out of that fire rolling towards you. And keep dropping your ultimate. Don't let your ultimate build up to 500. Drop it at, I think it's 170 or something. I don't even know what the number is, but sometimes when the bar is full, I should probably know that. So as y'all can tell, I'm an okay player, but I'm not great by any means. So you can solo these. You just got to build, know the mechanics of it, and doesn't take super reactions. You see me making mistakes because I mess up. Okay, so pop your shield. Yeah, I popped my shield before I came in. Yeah, I tried to come in and pop my shield because that'll give him 5,000 damage too. So if I got a full health bar and do that. But he's probably going to do something. By the time I get in there, I'll only be able to hit him twice or something. So it's not going to make... I mean... Well, I did notice I was doing a ton of DPS on Aethar on a different build with that execute. That was a stand build that had weapon damage and more stamina. I mean, I've only got 17k stamina. So, I bet that execute doesn't. It's probably doing a 4,000, a 300% increase. Only 200 skills, so let's say 200 times, or 2,000 skill. And 8,000, let's say 7 to 10,000 a hit. See, I was in there, I didn't hit him, I don't know why. Maybe I felt like it wasn't safe. Also when you're in there, you know, when I'm way back there, I can see when that rolling fire comes, but, I mean, I'm not a 14-year-old with hyper reflexes. If I'm standing right next to him, I'm standing way back there and I'm right there. I got 1/5 the reaction time. Okay, so he's dead. So all that work, and I got the helmet, but it got the great trait of training. But so we jump up and down a little bit to show we did it and no pain. I think I was pretty happy though. So I died at the end of this fight once of killing that easy mage at the end. And then a few days before I tried it, I don't know if it's this build or a different one, or one slightly different, that I got Aethar down to 400, very little health, and I just did something stupid. I don't know. So yeah, I'm kind of, there's a bar, there's the skills you see that I've been talking about the whole time. Okay, so there I got the Trinimac in the jewelry and the jerkin. See, I don't have any heavy to put on. It's all light, so I mean, you don't give up that much by changing. I mean, I do have no recovery problems with that light on, but also have so yeah, so that's the build. So this is the end, so I hope you enjoy. Thank you very much for watching. I will have I've got lots of PTS builds that are leading up to this, but I want to get the latest one I did. So the key things on this is we got a Mythic ring of Wild Hunt, and we got no pants. And it's a great sword bubble build.